Welcome back to the course. In this lesson, you'll learn how to add animations and transitions using Animate.css. This is a fantastic library created by Dan Eden, and it's been around for quite some time now. So let's see how it all works. If you go to this GitHub page, you'll find a link in the lesson notes. You'll see a preview of what you can do with Animate.css. Basically, you select your animation from this list, and you can see a preview right here. Pretty cool, right? Now, to get started, we're going to visit the official GitHub repository. And of course, you can get it via npm or yarn, or you can get the version hosted on CDN, which is what I recommend. So let's grab this and let's go to our project file. I'm just going to paste it right here. In this project, I'm loading modern normalize that I covered in the previous lesson as a reset. I'm going to be doing this for the rest of the course. And then I just loaded Animate.css, and I'm loading my own minified version of the style.css file that I have here. In terms of markup, I just have a grid with two containers inside, which I'll use to demonstrate this CSS library. So let's start with the following. I'm going to create an h1 with a class of Animate.css, and to this, I'm going to add the classes of animated, and then the name of the animation that I want to use. Let's select, for example, bounce. So now when I go back, you briefly saw the animation. Let's go again. And that's it. You just start with the class of animated, and then you add the animation that you want to use. Let's use Flash, for example. There we go. Now, this animation only runs once by default, but you can change that by adding specialized classes. Infinite will just run the animation indefinitely. And let's go back to bounce. See, so it just runs indefinitely. And you also have some classes to control the animation delay and the animation speed. So to control the delay, you would do delay dash and the number of seconds. Let's say 3 seconds, for example. So now my animation will start 3 seconds after the page was loaded. And I can also do slow to reduce the speed of the animation. Notice right now it's much slower. Now you have some additional classes that you can use. Let me just show you. If you go to the official GitHub repository, you can find the classes here. So for delay, you can go from 1 to 5 seconds using delay dash 1 second, 2 seconds, and so on. And for speed, you can use the classes of slow, slower, fast, and faster. And you can see the speed time right here. Now, if you don't want to use these classes, you can control these properties via CSS directly. So for example, I can delete these classes, just leave the animation class. And then in here, I can say h1 animated. I can set animation duration, let's say 5 seconds. Let's say animation delay, 1 second. And animation iteration count, let's set it to 2. So that means my animation will unfold over 5 seconds. It's going to have a 1 delay start from when I refresh my page, and it's going to repeat 2 times. Let's go back and let's do a refresh here. That was the delay. That was the animation duration. And here it goes the second time. And that's it. Now it's going to stop. Now, these animations can also be added dynamically via JavaScript. So in the second container, I'm going to add an anchor tag with an ID of button and with a class of button. And I'm just going to say href. We don't really care about that. I'm going to say submit form. This is just a demo button that I've styled to look like this. So what I want to do is when I click this button, I wanted to add an animation to it. I want it to shake, right? So very easy to do that. In my script.js, I'm going to say the following: var element document get element by ID, and I'll reference the element with the class of button, or excuse me, it's by ID, so we'll use button there. And then I'm going to say element. We're going to add a click event listener to it, and we're going to create a function here. And inside, we'll start by adding the animation classes. So we'll say element class list add animated, and let's say shake. So let's see if that works. Click, and there it is. Now, if I click it again, it's not shaking anymore because the animation ended. So if we want to restart the animation, we gotta remove that animated class and add it again. So we can do the following: element, add event listener, animation end, and then function. And we can say element, class list, remove, animated and shake. So this is what happens when I click the button. I add the animation class. And when that animation ends, I remove that class so that when I click the button again, I can re-add the animation class and the animation will be restarted. So now I can click this button as many times as I want, and it's gonna just keep animating. And that wraps up this lesson about Animate.css. Very useful library and definitely a time saver. Now, in the next lesson, you'll learn about the most popular CSS icon library out there, Font Awesome. I'm sure you've heard of it and maybe even used it. So I'll see you in the next lesson.